taking on the Minnesota Twins. In the first ALDS series between the Yankees and the Astros, that's two heavyweights really going at it. And the Yankees will be healthy by that point. Keep that in mind. So right now they don't have Severino. They don't have Stanton and Judge. So they will have all those pieces. And that's going to propel them, right? Rotation looking of Severino. You get James Paxton, J.A. Happ, Masahiro Tanaka. They can really choose whatever they want there. The Astros, on the other hand, kind of with Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Lance McCullers most likely. It's a tough series to pick, but at the end of the day, I think the Yankees would win that series just because of the offensive firepower they have to go with the bullpen and the pitching staff. I'd say that goes 5 just because it's a good series. Maybe 4. I could see the Yankees winning it, but I'd say Yankees in 5. Moving on to the ALCS. In the other ALDS series, we've got the Rays and the Twins. It'll be an interesting matchup. Blake Snell obviously couldn't pitch until Game 2 or Game 3, so they'd have to go to Charlie Morton or potentially an opener. And, I mean, we saw at the Athletics the opener when they played the New York Yankees in the 2018 American League wildcard game, and it didn't really go as planned, right? The A's got beat pretty badly in that game, so it would be interesting. Obviously, Blake Snell is going to be able to beat anybody, and the Twins, they have some pitching, but it's interesting too because they got Martin Perez, who has been good for them, and a couple other guys, and they're still really an unknown commodity in the league. But at the end of the day, I'd say the Rays go in there and they upset the Twins. I'd go Rays in 5. I really like what Tampa Bay has built down there. It's sustainable, and they have a really good front office and a really good team. So Rays moving on to take on the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. A Yankees-Rays battle. That would certainly be a fun one to watch, especially if the opener, if that works for the Rays. And they also have Tyler Glasnow too. Tyler Glasnow will be back by that point, so you get a combination of Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Charlie Morton. And that's a formidable punch. Their fourth guy, though, which they would have to use, it would most likely be an opener in the scenario, and the Yankees, again, have the firepower to win. It would be a very interesting series, and I would see it going 6 or 7 games between the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. But at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this and I'm breaking it down, I'm thinking that the Tampa Bay Rays fall in 7 games to the New York Yankees. Just simply because I don't think the opener is going to work in the playoffs. It may work in the regular season, but it's not a playoff strategy. I'm going Yankees in 7. So you get a World Series of Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Yankees. That would be, again, 2 heavyweight matchups. 2 huge fire-powered offenses going up against 2 dominant pitching staffs and decent bullpens. But the real separating factor between those 2 clubs, the Dodgers and the Yankees, is the pitching staff that the New York Yankees have built. They've built an elite pitching staff in the bullpen. And I think that would be the ultimate deciding factor because the offenses are both similar. I'd probably give a little bit of an advantage to the Yankees. And the pitching I'd give to the Dodgers rotation-wise. But you enter the bullpen, it's easy Yankees. So I'd say the game goes between 5 to 7 games. But, we'll go Yankees in 6 win their 28th World Championship. They're a juggernaut team, especially when healthy. So right now, as of June 2nd, 2019, we've got a World Series prediction of Yankees-Dodgers with the Yankees winning it all in 6 games. All right, I want to take a look at the All-Star ballot. So there's a bit of a new system this year with the way the All-Star game is decided, and a lot of fans, what I was finding when I was just talking to people, is that they don't really understand the new system, how it works, yada, yada, yada. So I want to come here to you guys today and explain the new system to you. So currently right now is a primary. So we know how the political elections work. So let's say in 2020, the Democrat nominees, they come together and they elect their candidate. It's a little bit different for baseball, though. They're not electing the candidate. They're electing 3 guys at each position. So whoever gets the most votes among those 3 positions, they then move on to the general election. So the primary closes at June 21st at 4 p.m., and you can vote 5 times every 24-hour period. And then once we get to that time, then the three guys that are moving on in each league will move on, and you get one vote in the general election. So very exciting. I like the new format this year. So let's dive in right now and take a look at the candidates at each spot. So in the American League for first baseman, I definitely would say the candidates for me, and again, we'll go over who I am voting for eventually here. But I just want to go over sort of the candidates and what they're looking like. So again, it's a new format. I like the new format. It definitely provides a bit of a twist because it used to just be, and it still could possibly be what fan base comes out and votes most. And now it's still is a popularity contest. Like guys that are not known as well as some of the top guys may not get as many votes as the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cubs. When those fan bases, they show out and they vote for their guys, right? But there's an opportunity for fans to go out there, and there's a new twist in it. And as per usual, there will be the writers and the managers that fill out the rosters eventually, but new twist. I mean, we'll see how it all works out, and we'll get into now the contenders for the first base position. So, for me right now, I'd say the contenders are Carlos Santana of the Indianapolis Indians. Right now, he's batting .292 with 11 home runs, 37 RBIs, and a .931 OPS. I'd also throw Jose Abreu into the conversation as well. He's batting .246, 15 home runs, 50 RBIs, a .798 OPS. And really, it's between those two guys to me. You either have to vote Carlos Santana or Jose Abreu. I think both of them are moving on eventually to the primary. So if we're looking at, who could be that third guy, Miguel Cabrera potentially. He's batting .284, 2 home runs, 22 RBIs, a .712 OPS. Maybe Edwin Encarnacion of the Mariners. He's batting .244, 15 home runs, 37 RBIs, and .852 OPS. Maybe Luke Voit, a .267 average, 14 home runs, 38 RBIs, and .887 OPS. But for me, if I'm going to make my prediction right now, the three guys that move on for American League first baseman are Carlos Santana, Jose Abreu easily, and then I think Luke Voit. So if the prediction right now for me is Santana, Abreu, and Luke Voit. Those three cats, they move on to the general election, and it'll be interesting to see who takes it home in the end. Right now, for me, again, it's a toss-up between Santana and Abreu, but Luke Voit definitely could have a shot as well, just given that he does have that Yankees contingent. For National League first baseman, the contenders, Josh Bell, .333 average, 18 home runs, 52 RBIs, a 1,082 OPS. Pete Alonso, a .268 average, 19 home runs, 44 RBIs, a .958 OPS. And it's really going to be between Josh Bell and Pete Alonso, I think, eventually for the eventual first baseman decision. But if we're looking at the third guy that could go with them, looking at Freddie Freeman, a .306 average, 14 home runs, 34 RBIs, a .957 OPS. Maybe Anthony Rizzo, a .294 average, 16 home runs, 43 RBIs, a .1006 OPS. Maybe a Rhys Hoskins, .277 average, 13 home runs, 42 RBIs, and .937 OPS. Really for me, it's going to be Josh Bell. It's going to be Pete Alonso. And then I personally think it'll be between Freddie Freeman and Anthony Rizzo. Now, between those two, we know what it should be. I think it probably should be Freddie Freeman getting that nod to the general election. But just given the fact that Cubs fans, they show up, they vote, I'd have a tough time finding Anthony Rizzo not on that general election ballot. So my three guys, again, in the American League, we have Carlos Santana, Jose Abreu, and Luke Voit. In the National League, Josh Bell, Pete Alonso, and Anthony Rizzo. So now moving on to the second baseman, we'll check out the contenders in the American League. We got DJ LeMahieu hitting .314, 6 home runs, 34 RBIs, and .820 OPS. We got Tommy La Stella, a .300 average, 12 home runs, 34 RBIs, and .877 OPS. Brandon Lowe, 276 average, 11 home runs, 34 RBIs, and 856 OPS. And those are the three guys that, to me, there's really no question that are going to be advancing. It's going to be Brandon Lowe, DJ LeMahieu, and Tommy La Stella. DJ LeMahieu coming over from the Colorado Rockies in the offseason, and he's turned himself into a nice piece there with all the injuries that have occurred in New York with Didi Gregorius and Miguel Andujar. He's been needed, and he has flourished. Tommy La Stella, who would have predicted this guy coming? I don't think the Angels would be 28-30, sitting only 2.5 games back of the wild card spot, if Tommy La Stella hasn't been doing what he's been doing. And it's been awesome to see sort of the revamp. He's never played this well. It's a breakout year for Tommy La Stella, and it's exciting to see what he's doing in LA, and he could very well get this starting second baseman nod, and then Brandon Lowe as well. He's an exciting rookie player. He has a bright future in Tampa Bay and could be a big part of their my predicted ALCS run for them this year. So now the NL second baseman, the contenders, Cesar Hernandez, a 289 average, 6 home runs, 28 RBIs, and 807 OPS. Mike Moustakas, a 268 average, 16 home runs, 37 RBIs, and 896 OPS. Ketel Marte, a 277 average, 13 home runs, 40 RBIs, and 853 OPS. And I definitely think it's going to be those three guys. It's going to be Mike Moustakas, it's going to be Ketel Marte, and it's going to be Cesar Hernandez, who are going to make it to the general bout. Cesar Hernandez, I know a lot of Phillies fans, just from talking to them, he had a rough start to the season, but it's definitely turning around. Mike Moustakas, he plays a lot of third base now, with Keston Hiura being the starting second baseman for the Milwaukee Brewers until Travis Shaw comes back, but Moose is on the ballot as the second baseman. And then Ketel Marte, the dude hit a 482-foot home run today. He's 13 on the season, 40 RBIs. So those three. Again, in the American League, we've got Brandon Lowe, Tommy La Stella, and DJ LeMahieu. And in the National League, we've got Ketel Marte, Mike Moustakas, and Cesar Hernandez. Now we take a look at the third baseman. So the contenders, I got Gio Urshela, 336 average, 3 home runs, 22 RBIs, and 862 OPS. Alex Bregman, 266 average, 17 home runs, 39 RBIs, and 945 OPS. And then Hunter Dozier, 314 average, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, and 987 OPS. I do believe those will be the three guys: Gio Urshela, Alex Bregman, and Hunter Dozier. Gio Urshela, he's came out of nowhere, came out of the woodworks, and he's just mashed for the New York Yankees. And the Yankees always seem to find these types of players. And if you're not a Yankees fan, it is frustrating, but it's nice to see what Gio Urshela has been doing in New York. And then Bregman's always there, and Hunter Dozier's having a nice little breakout season in Kansas City as well. So the third baseman candidates, we've got Nolan Arenado, a 342 average, 15 home runs, 51 RBIs, a 1,020 OPS. And we've got Anthony Rendon, a 321 average, 10 home runs, 34 RBIs, a 1,074 OPS. There's no doubt it's going to be between Arenado and Rendon. They're both going to the general election, but it's going to be a question of who you vote for between Rendon and Arenado. Can't really go wrong between the two. Try to see who potentially may be going with them. Eduardo Escobar, a 284 average, 14 home runs, 46 RBIs, and 898 OPS. And yeah, I think it's going to be those guys. It's going to be Anthony Rendon, Nolan Arenado, and Eduardo Escobar that will be advancing to the general election. And again, it's really going to be between Rendon and Arenado. You throw in Escobar just because he's having a nice season, but Rendon and Arenado are just on a whole nother level. So the American League candidates, again, we've got Hunter Dozier, we've got Alex Bregman and Gio Urshela, and then the National League, Anthony Rendon, Nolan Arenado, and Eduardo Escobar. At the shortstop position, the candidates, Jorge Polanco, a 335 average, 9 home runs, 28 RBIs, and a 991 OPS. Gleyber Torres, a 288 average, 14 home runs, 31 RBIs, and 874 OPS. Alberto Mondesi, 287 average, 6 home runs, 42 RBIs, and 811 OPS. And yeah, those are going to be the three guys: Jorge Polanco, Gleyber Torres, and Adalberto Mondesi. Loving what Jorge Polanco, he's turned himself into an MVP candidate for the best team in baseball and the Minnesota Twins. Gleyber Torres, sort of transitioning from second to short with Didi out, has been fantastic. And Alberto Mondesi has turned himself into a nice ball player, along with Hunter Dozier. They've got a nice left side of the infield of the future in Kansas City.